First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Welcome to WUFT News First at 5. I'm Loren Miranda.
And I'm Caitlyn Schiffer. Thanks for joining us. Today, we remember those who lost their lives on 9/11 22 years ago.
There were multiple events held around Gainesville today to honor the first responders and memorialize the victims. The City of Gainesville held a ceremony of remembrance this morning at City Hall. Mayor Harvey Ward, Fire Chief Joseph Dixon, and Police Chief Lonnie Scott gave remarks during the ceremony. A moment of silence was scheduled at 8:46 a.m. when the first airplane struck the World Trade Center in New York City.
Firefighters, students, and community members gathered to participate in the annual stadium climb at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium this morning. Football head coach Billy Napier gave a speech at the event. Participants climbed the stairs 14 times to represent the height of the World Trade Center. Local firefighters wore full protective equipment while scaling the stairs to honor the first responders who were part of the rescue efforts in 2001. Nationwide, survivors and families of victims are gathering to honor loved ones as the country's dignitaries offer words of comfort.
NBC's Alice Barr is in Washington, D.C. with details.
Today, as the nation pauses to remember
Jeremy Joseph Ahern.
Names of the lives forever stopped on September 11th, 22 years ago, filled the silence.
We love you, we miss you, we can't replace you.
From the World Trade Center in New York to the Pentagon and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, loved ones sharing deeply personal memories.
You are forever our hero and angel.
From a vast web of loss that stretches across America.
You may have been torn from us that day, but your love and memories will never be torn from our hearts.
President Biden returning to the U.S. from Vietnam, stopping at a military base in Alaska, paying tribute to the many soldiers who joined in response to the terror attacks that claimed nearly 3,000 lives and reshaped American foreign policy. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin speaking from the Pentagon.
We will always work to keep America safe, and we will always remember.
In a painstaking process, the remains of 2 more 9/11 victims have now been identified, but more than 1,000 families still wait, speaking the names of those they lost.
Love you, Phil. Talk to you later.
To ensure they never fade away. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
We're following breaking news out of South Florida where an Amber Alert is in effect for 2 children under the age of 1. FDLE is asking you to be on the lookout for 2-month-old Christian Ariel Ruiz Maradiaga and 1-year-old Ariana Jasmine Maradiaga. They both have brown hair and brown eyes. Investigators say they're with 21-year-old Santos Isaac Diaz Escobar and may be traveling in a 4-door 2004 dark gray Lexus. They were last seen in the Lake Worth area. You're asked to not approach Escobar and call police. And what started out as a traffic stop ended with 2 deputies being suspended and a viral video. WUFT's Bianca Smith brings us new details about the statement the Levy Police Department just shared.
Well, thanks there, Loren. And Michelle and John Guthrie and their kids were driving home in February when a sheriff's deputy pulled them over for saying that they were swerving. I've been working on getting the dash cam footage from the police. Michelle has been very vocal on social media about the incident. She says she's being wary of the traffic stop. She began to record the incident on her phone. We're told that Officer Gerard Williams ran John's license to discover that he had an outstanding warrant and arrested him. But the couple says that they had no idea about this. At one point, we're told things got heated and Officer Williams threatens to arrest Michelle as well for not giving him the phone. And after the incident, the couple turned to a YouTube channel called Lackluster, who edited the video and posted it online. Just 3 days later, the video has over 300,080 views, and the comment section has hundreds of saying like this is a disturbing and disgusting display of police misconduct. The Levy County Sheriff's Office released a statement over the weekend saying that they believe that the video was a coordinated attack against the agency and law enforcement. But there is an investigation and the 2 deputies have been suspended. I reached out to the Guthries for a statement but did not hear back. Live in the newsroom, Bianca Smith, WUFT News.
The Columbia County Sheriff says he wants to address the community after this weekend's deadly deputy-involved shooting, but will do so once FDLE completes their investigation. Sheriff Mark Hunter made the post on Facebook earlier today. Friday night, a deputy was called to a domestic violence incident on US 441 South in Patio Glen. When he arrived, the deputy says he witnessed a man shoot a woman. The report says the deputy then shot the man, killing him. The woman was also killed. The deputy was not hurt.
Police in Ocala arrested a man they say was in possession of child pornography. 53-year-old Alan Hardman was taken into custody over the weekend. Investigators say the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children received several tips over the last few months of child porn linked to an email account that belonged to Hardman. Detectives say they found hundreds of media files on accounts. He's been charged with possession of child pornography.
And storms are brewing in our area. Several counties in our area are under a severe thunderstorm warning.
WUFT's Derrah joins us now with more on the severe weather.
That's right, Loren and Caitlyn. St. John's and Clay County are both under a severe thunderstorm warning, and we actually have a flood warning in Duval County right now. We're seeing a lot of lightning with these storms. We've racked up to 118 lightning strikes with this cell alone, and you can see that storm stretching up from just south of Jacksonville all the way down the I-95 corridor down to St. Augustine. We're going to continue to watch for these lightnings with these storms, as well as that gusty wind. You can see another cell here moving just north of Marion County, stretching up to Alachua into Gainesville right now. Still seeing a lot of lightning, and we'll continue to see these storms linger through the remainder of this evening, and I'll let you know how long the rain is going to stick around in just a few minutes.
Debris pickup is set to begin tomorrow for residents in Suwannee County impacted by Hurricane Idalia. The Sheriff's Office posted this infographic on their Facebook page. It breaks down what they will and won't pick up, where you should place your debris, and how your debris should be placed in front of your home. You can find this information on our website, WUFT.org. When we return from the break, the search continues for victims of the deadly earthquake in Morocco.
And one organization is declaring a national shortage of a life-saving supply. What you can do to help.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome back. Rescuers are racing against time to find survivors after an earthquake in Morocco. This disaster is the deadliest earthquake to hit the area in 6 decades. The death toll, over 2,500. The 6.8 magnitude earthquake struck late Friday night. Now, search teams from Spain, Britain, and Qatar are joining rescue efforts. Authorities have not issued any estimates for the number of people still missing.
The American Red Cross is declaring a national blood shortage and is asking Americans to help out by rolling up their sleeves. The nonprofit organization that provides about 40% of U.S. blood and blood components to hospitals says distribution is far outpacing donations being made. Supply levels fell nearly 25% since early August because of a drop in donations in back-to-back months of climate-driven disasters. Emergency supplies of donated blood are described as critically low. The Red Cross needs to collect about 12,500 donations each day to meet patients' needs.
And are your finances prepared to weather a natural disaster? With hurricane season among us and the already present extreme heat, this is a question you might want to ask yourself. CNN's Karen Kaifa tells us how to avoid a devastating financial impact.
Mother Nature has been punishing this summer, and hurricane season could bring more chaos before it wraps up. The National Hurricane Center says it's important to think a few steps ahead.
Often people, when they evacuate out of a hurricane zone, they underestimate how long it might take to safely get back into the community that they've evacuated from.
And in the stressful run-up to a natural disaster like a hurricane or wildfire, basic needs like food, shelter, and water take priority, which is why experts recommend having a disaster readiness financial plan at the ready year-round. To do that, FEMA recommends the following steps. First, gather your important financial documents and contacts. For documents that are paper only, take a photo and keep some cash in a safe place in case ATMs or banks are inaccessible. Review your insurance policies to be sure that they are current and know the range of disasters for which they'll support you. FEMA also suggests safeguarding paper and electronic copies of all files in safe locations and updating items anytime there's a big life change like a move, a job switch, or the birth of a child. If households update a plan periodically, it's one less thing to think about when emergency is imminent, information flow is rapid, and decisions need to be made quickly.
Just focus on the information that is pertinent to you, your area, and that is actionable.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
And speaking of weather,
with forecaster Derrah. Derrah, what should we expect to see in the next few days?
So the triple-digit heat indices are about to make a return. Tomorrow we're expecting heat indices up to 102 degrees in Gainesville. I'll time that out for you in just a few minutes.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
We have several counties under a severe thunderstorm warning until 5:30 this evening. Alachua, Marion, Putnam, St. John's, and Clay all under that severe thunderstorm warning. We're seeing a lot of lightning with these cells, up to 212 lightning strikes right now. You can see this cell moving right along that I-75 corridor between Marion and Alachua right now. A few sprinkles starting to move into Palatka. We're seeing some pretty heavy rain in Duval County right now. They're also under a flood advisory until 6:45 this evening, especially as we watch to see when this East Coast sea breeze collides with these cells. We'll maybe see these storms start to intensify and some new storms starting to appear. We're also watching a light cell here headed into Volusia and Flagler counties right now, but it looks like it's starting to dissipate. We'll continue to see the rain over the next couple of hours, and you can actually see those clouds building in east of Century Tower right now. Even though it's 87 degrees, it's still feeling pretty warm out there at 97 degrees for your feels like temperature. We're already racking up a lot of rain. Right now, temperatures already in the low 80s and even 70s where we're seeing the heaviest of that rain. And over the next couple of hours, we'll see those showers and storms start to fade later this evening. Around 9 o'clock, we'll start drying out. And then overnight, we'll be left with some mostly cloudy skies. Because of all that moisture we have in the air, there is the chance to see some patchy fog when you wake up on your morning commute tomorrow. You'll be waking up to temperatures in the low 70s, and there will be a light chance of rain that'll increase as we go throughout the day. So ahead of you, as you're on your morning drive, you'll see about 4 miles ahead with that denser fog as you get up into Stark and even into Jacksonville. So tomorrow, high temperatures are going to be in the low 90s, but those triple digit feels like temperatures are about to make a return. We'll be seeing feels like temperatures up to 100 degrees or more area wide. So let me time out those showers for you. We'll see a few light showers sweeping in Gainesville tomorrow afternoon and this evening. We'll see those showers continue to stay with us, but we'll start seeing those showers fade later on tonight. And then the same story for tomorrow, and that's due because we have the stalled out front to the north, and then we have another front moving in right behind it, which is about to drop our temperatures and keep our rain chances pretty high the rest of this week. So we'll have temperatures even in the low 80s and low 90s on to Thursday and through the next week.
The Florida Gators football team was able to turn things around after a rough start to the season.
That's right. The Gators beat up McNeese State on Saturday. Coming up in sports.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome to sports. I'm Bennett Solomon. The Gators football team put on a show Saturday night, winning its 34th consecutive home opener, a streak that started in 1990. Orange and Blue took down McNeese State 49-0. Quarterback Graham Mertz was effective in his home debut, completing 14 of 17 passes for 193 yards and a passing touchdown. Meanwhile, running back Montrell Johnson led the way on the ground, running for a team-high 119 yards and 2 scores. Freshman running back Trayon Webb also had a good night, finishing with 71 yards on 14 attempts in addition to a pair of touchdowns. Overall, Florida's ground game dominated by rushing for 327 yards. On the other side of the ball, the defense handled McNeese State, holding the Cowboys to just 112 yards. This was the Gators' best defensive performance in 86 games. Head coach Billy Napier and the Gators now turn their attention to big-time rival Tennessee.
Ultimately, for us as a staff, we have young players that need to continue to develop. A lot of guys have gotten significant experience the first 2 weeks, and obviously this will be a huge game, and that swamp will be a lot different next week.
Up next, the Gators will host the 11th-ranked Tennessee Volunteers Saturday at 7 p.m. The UF soccer team fell to number 5 Florida State 1-0 yesterday. This rivalry matchup was a scoreless game until Jody Brown scored with 14 minutes to go, resulting in the Seminoles handing the Gators their first loss of the season. FSU produced 10 shots total, with 3 of them being on goal. Meanwhile, UF had just 3 shots total and were unable to get any shots on goal. FSU has now won 6 straight matches against the Gators, and over the last 6 seasons, the Seminoles have outscored UF 16-3. The Gators will be back in action on Friday for a matchup against the Missouri Tigers. The game is set for 7 p.m. at the Diz. The 3rd-ranked Florida volleyball team finished the Gators Invitational on a high note. After beating Sacramento State Thursday night, the Gators swept Clemson Friday and brought out the brooms again Saturday to take down Winthrop in straight sets. The Gators have opened the season on a 7-game win streak, something that has only happened 6 times in program history. Alexis Stuckey was named MVP of the Gators Invitational, while Kennedy Martin and Ellie McKissick were each named to the All-Tournament team. Next up, they hit the road to take on Florida State tomorrow in a Sunshine Showdown. First serve is slated for 6 p.m. That's all for sports. Thanks for tuning in.
And before we go, let's get one last check on the weather. Derrah?
So if you have any outdoor practices, they might be canceled or postponed due to all of that lightning we have in the area, especially if your neighborhood has poor drainage. We'll likely see some minor flooding. This is 7 o'clock and the rain will still be sticking with us, but 8, 9, 10 o'clock, we'll start to see those showers and storms dissipate. Loren and Caitlyn.
Thanks, Derrah. BBC World News is next, and the PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7.
For your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org.